What is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is when your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit are disagreeing with each other. So I'm going to give you some examples. So I've got a chessboard here, and I'm going to pretend like this is one person here, and we're just going to talk about one person, okay? So Poseidon is the king, and he's going to represent the rational mind. He makes the decisions. He's very methodical. He only takes one step at a time. So he'll go one direction this way, just one step at a time. He has to think about it, because if he goes down, the whole team goes down. And then Athena, who is supposed to have a sword in her hand, but it broke off, is our queen. Now the queen is going to represent the emotional mind. And here's why. Because the queen in chess can go clear over here. She can go clear over here. She can make the entire distance of the board in one step. She's emotional. There's great, big, intense feelings that happen when she's activated. Now, let me say something before I go on. This is not to suggest that men are the rational mind and women reflect the emotional mind. No, that is a cultural myth. Men have emotions that are just as intense as women's. And men's emotions tend to be more on the angry side when they have very intense emotions. Estrogen tends to give us more tears. But regardless, men can be very much an emotional mind. Women can be very much in a rational mind. Think about a single mother. How many rational thoughts does she have to help her family survive? So this is not gender-based. This is based upon all of our brains. All of our brains have a rational mind. All of our brains have an emotional mind. And all of our brains have a body. So that's essentially what we are. Left brain, right brain, and a body. Now let's consider 3 different situations where we are not in agreement with ourselves. The first one's going to be test anxiety. I have serious test anxiety. My brain may have everything memorized before the test happens, but when the test starts happening, I get all sorts of things happening in my body. My frontal lobe shuts down. All the blood leaves my brain and it goes to my limbs because I'm trying to escape from the dinosaur, which is the test. My stomach starts to ravel. I'm not very hungry. My heart starts to palpitate. And regardless, if my rational brain had it all memorized before, my body starts to respond. And you know what my emotions start doing? Wigging out. I'm wigging out. I am terrified. I don't want to take this test. And history will show you that I fail every test the first time. Every big one that matters the first time. I've taken so many tests so many times I cannot tell you how many. So test anxiety is one where we are not in agreement. So what do I do about cognitive dissonance with test anxiety? Well, my brain needs to help my body relax and know that everything's safe. The brain is kind of the inner parent, right? So the brain can say, okay, what does your body need, Kara? Let's do the alternate nostril breathing technique, which I will teach you guys one day. What are some things that you need to know that you're competent, that you know this stuff? What's going to help you build confidence with that? Let's think of another one. Let's say there's a person in authority who you respect, a pastor, a coach, a teacher, a boss, and they start to flirt with you and you admire them, but you know that it's not appropriate. And your body is going to kind of start struggling with that. Emotionally, you'll be like, okay, I like the attention, but this doesn't feel right. And your rational mind is saying, if you're good, you're going to do what they want. Or you shouldn't do that. Lots of shoulds and lots of shouldn'ts over here in rational mind. And so there's this issue that's going to happen within your being of, what do I do? Because that's a Me Too moment. So that's something you got to struggle with and figure out, what do I need to do to find inner peace? So inner peace is going to be when all of your parts, your components agree. So that means that your rational mind is listening to Athena, your emotional mind. Your emotional mind and your rational mind are listening to your body's response. So here's what happens if you don't listen to your emotions. See pretty little Athena here, who with a pretend sword in her arms? If you don't listen to her, she becomes Athena. She takes over. And she feels out of control and illogical and you are going to have so many regrets if you make decisions based upon her. So she needs for Poseidon to be listening to her. And something really interesting happens when the rational mind starts listening to the rest of the body. That is, your intensity goes from here down to here, because it feels like you are being supported within yourself. And then you can make wise decisions. So I encourage you to embrace your cognitive dissonance. Whenever you feel like you are not in agreement with yourself, lean in. Lean in. Let your rational mind listen to your emotions. Get some information from your emotions. Lean into your body. The body doesn't lie. Listen to what the body needs to be able to feel better. And sometimes that rational mind is going to need to set some boundaries and assess, okay, what do I need to do to be safe? Because if I don't feel safe, I'm going to be flying into that sympathetic nervous system side. And we're going to be talking about that real soon too. Anyway, if you are interested in learning more about these questions that come up, the cognitive dissonance, that is chapter 1 of my book, Who Am I? A Deep Dive Through Spiritual Wounding to Identity by Kara Hudson, and that's me. And I encourage you to embrace your cognitive dissonance this week. Lean into it, see what you learn about yourself, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for your time.